A pilgrimage starts long before reaching the destination. It begins the instant one remembers God. This hard-working man moves a mountain. Here in India, one often sees the miraculous in the commonplace. Hinduism teaches that work as service to God is worship. God's presence in everything is a great spiritual theme in India. It is said, recognition of the divinity within all living creatures brings constant remembrance of God. Prayer comes easily on the streets of Calcutta. Incense is burned in many cars, reminding us that life itself is dependent on the grace of God. Pilgrims often travel to the bank of the mystic Ganges to visit the famous Dakshineswar Kali Temple, to God in the form of Mother. God, though equally present everywhere, manifests especially at places where countless people have worshipped. There is a continuous stream of pilgrims bringing offerings, petitions, and prayers to Mother Kali. In Hinduism, the infinite, formless, one God assumes many different aspects. Just as water can freeze into ice of many different shapes, the infinite God also assumes different forms which appeal to people's various spiritual ideals. Some people prefer to worship God in the form of a loving, protecting mother. Kali is one of the most powerful forms of God as mother. Devotees are lighting incense as they come near Kali's shrine. Nothing can prepare us for the first impact. She is electrifying. God in a form of the mother of all creation. In the rush of the moment, one may not be aware of the ritual worship going on, called a puja. It is performed in the shrine daily by the temple pujaris. The photograph of Sri Ramakrishna shares the shrine with Mother Kali. Sri Ramakrishna was a great 19th century mystic who lived at Dakshineswar. He worshipped Mother Kali with an all-consuming yearning to know her, and he did realize her in the highest state of consciousness. Sarada Devi, Sri Ramakrishna's enlightened spiritual wife and first disciple, was a great spiritual teacher. One of her major messages was, "If you want peace of mind, my child, don't find fault with others. Learn to make the whole world your own. No one is a stranger, my child. The whole world is your own." Sri Ramakrishna declared that all religions are in reality praying to one and the same God. He also explained that God has made different religions and creeds to suit the different aspirants, times, and countries. He personally practiced various religions and taught that each religion is simply a path leading to God, just as different rivers come from different directions and ultimately become one in the ocean. A Kali statue was commissioned by an American devotee to be brought from India to Laguna Beach, California. She also invited the main Dakshineswar Pujari and his assistant to visit and perform special worship in a local auditorium. It provided many devotees the rare opportunity to experience the Kali worship. Misinformation about Kali is abundant. One's perspective expands with understanding of her deeper symbolic meaning. Like the night sky, Kali is the color of the universe. Kali is the sum total of all energy, Shakti. She dances on Shiva, who is the static ground of existence. He appears white, smeared with ashes, representing renunciation and illuminating consciousness. The snake symbolizes that Shiva accepts all creatures. Kali's tongue has been explained as being outstretched for a variety of reasons, ranging from shock, shyness, disdain, and delight. Regardless the reason, it is clearly a symbol which is recognized as energy and power. Kali's many arms add to the representation of her immense strength. Her raised upper right hand gives the powerful blessing, "Have no fear." Her lower right hand is saying, "Accept this boon." The sword in her upper left hand removes our obstacles to spiritual progress. Mother protects her children. The severed head held by her lower left hand represents the inevitability of death. Kali's symbology vividly makes a divine connection to the inescapable fact that death comes to us all, and even that can be a blessing. Mother Kali is all-powerful and transcends both good and evil. She teaches that when we learn to regard death and disaster as lessons from Mother, we awake to a reality, we conquer fear, and we experience freedom. This particular ritual, called Arati, is repeated during different parts of the worship. It consists of symbolic offerings to Mother Kali. Light is being offered as the essence of fire, accompanied by the rhythmic chant praising Mother. Incense is offered representing the worshipper's vital energy. Water is offered in a conch shell. A folded red cloth represents a cosmic fabric woven of space and time. A flower is offered representing Earth. Bell ringing represents the offering of sacred sound. Air comes from a ceremonial fan. shell is a treasured tradition symbolizing spiritual victory. Some early classical Indian dancing was an intrinsic part of temple ritual offerings. In that tradition, various dances are performed by very young dancers as offerings to Kali. Dance is another form of worship, full of symbolism and surrender. The grace of the movements is achieved through dedicated discipline. Devotion in the dance evokes a mood that goes beyond entertainment to touch the soul of the dancer and the viewer alike. Sri Ramakrishna said that those who excel in singing, music, dancing, or any other art can quickly realize God, provided they strive sincerely. Sri Ramakrishna and Sarada Devi are honored before the main Kali Puja gets underway. The attendees at this puja are from various religions. They respond spontaneously as they feel moved by worship. Some sit in quiet contemplation. Others devotedly cook food as an offering to Kali. This food is sanctified by Kali in the shrine and is later shared by all the participants. Some devotees dance, and they are singing various names of God along with expressions of adoration and surrender. Puja preparations are extensive. The area must be clean. Brass is brightly polished. Purifying the area and surroundings creates a holy atmosphere to help purify the mind and the emotions for the worship. Kali and Shiva are welcomed with a refreshing bath and honored with garlands of flowers. A central point in Sri Ramakrishna's spiritual message is that we must create an intense longing for the Lord. He said, "Mother reveals everything if the devotee cries to her with a yearning heart." A major benefit of worship is realizing the grace of God. Sri Ramakrishna taught, the breeze of God's grace is always blowing. Just set the sails of your mind to catch the breeze. In the puja, there are many mantras, spoken Sanskrit word symbols, and mudras, symbolic hand signs. All are profoundly meaningful. They invoke an interior mood of devotion in the pujari and in the worshipful onlookers. Actual literal understanding is not necessary. A personal inner understanding is awakened with time. Intense internal mental activity accompanies every external action. Even as the pujari performs the worship, he thinks and imagines actions being performed within, such as mentally offering his mind to God as the flower is physically offered. The mind and the senses gradually turn inward through worship, prayer, and meditation. A longing for God comes from within, and the intense desire to see God manifests itself. Christ's first great commandment reinforced from the Old Testament, is, love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy mind, and with all thy might. This final outdoor scene is a tantric fire ceremony invoking Kali in the fire. The fire becomes Mother Kali. All one's actions and offerings go directly to Mother. This sacrifice provides a spiritual cleansing and renewal. Total internal surrender of one's own heart is all that is essential. The presence is beyond an image. The ultimate experience is imageless.